Well, hey, wow, we're here at last. It's just you and me. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, this is my talk, and it is entitled Activate Your Inner Alchemy. As you know, my name is Vanessa-Mary. I'm so happy and grateful that I have been able to work with my inner guides and such a fantastic collaborative team to put the Elevate Your Being series of talks together. Now it's my turn to share some thoughts with you. My talk is called Activate Your Alchemy. But before I go into it, I think it's important for us to explore, what do I mean by alchemy? Well, alchemy is an ancient practice that's traditionally been shrouded in mystery and secrecy. But there's no mystery and secrecy going on here. I'm talking to you about spiritual alchemy. Now, this is taking the form where we're looking at the art of transformation. You've decided to tune in to this series of health and well-being talks, which is part of your transformational journey. Spiritual alchemy will take you on a discovery of inner liberation, integration, acceptance, alignment, and if you're wanting to move forward, rebuilding your life. Essentially, spiritual alchemy is about energy healing. Today, I would like you to give me an opportunity to raise your level of conscious awareness. I absolutely love Nikola Tesla, the offerings that the inventions and the offerings that he had for our world. But I also love the quote that you're seeing here. It's true. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, you do need to start thinking in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So just as an introduction, if you've been following the Health and Wellbeing series, you'll know that every month I've been giving a personal development section within the session. But I never have time to go deep enough. So no matter what stage you are at with your journey of personal growth, I am certain that if you are new, this talk is going to give you some new ideas that you can start working with immediately. Or if you're a bit further along in your journey, then the idea of the session is that you can reaffirm your knowledge and hopefully take on a new perspective. So this talk is around alchemy ascension, and it's my own version of doing this, and I've structured it in 3 different steps. So I'm going to talk you through a 3-step framework, starting with acceptance and self-awareness. Then we're going to move on to activation and looking at some daily activities that you can apply into your life. Then we're talking about the process of ascension and attracting abundance. What I've done in the talk is I am actually reflecting on Hermetic principles. Now, Hermetic principles are an ancient philosophy and it's esoteric tradition. It's come from an author named Hermes Trismegistus. I don't think I've said his name properly, but that's where it's come from. And when you start to look at these Hermetic principles, it gives you an opportunity to comprehend the world around you. And you can do this according to spiritual laws. And if you start to use these laws in your life, then it's sure to help you to improve your life. I'm also going to be weaving in the 4 levels of consciousness. So as you listen to my message, I want you to think about what level you are presently at. But when you listen back to the message, because remember, I've encouraged you all the way through this series, not just to listen to the talks once, but to really tap in and listen again. You may decide to put yourself back a level. Now, there's nothing wrong with this because it's all about expansion. So if you feel that you've actually decided to put yourself back one level, on one level of consciousness, it means that there's room for expansion. So looking at personal growth, Vanessa-Mary, I knew I wouldn't say his name right, but he is the man behind Mind Valley. He talks about personal growth, and he says that your personal growth needs to match the level that you are presently at. So when I'm talking to you about the 4 levels of consciousness, you will hear aspects of growth. And like I said, you may go up and down in the levels. So level 1 is focused on living in the culturescape. Level 2 is all about the awakening. Level 3 takes you into an opportunity to recode yourself. And level 4 is about becoming extraordinary. And as I said, the source is Vichen from Mind Valley. So let's start with step 1, which is about acceptance and self-awareness. What I've done here is I've broken this part down into different areas. So we're going to first look at where are you now? Then we're going to talk about really getting to grips with knowing why you want this transformation to happen in your life. Then we'll start to look at creating your vision, and we'll talk about getting into flow. So where are you now? This is a really important step because this gives you an opportunity to be really honest with yourself and to evaluate your life. So one of the questions you could begin to ask yourself is, what are the biggest lessons that you've learned this year? You can apply this to any aspect of your life. So it could be around your health, your career, your finances, relationships, or just social life. Just have a think about that. Then you can actually start to ask yourself, what are the opportunities that are available to you right now? Now let's talk about the level of consciousness. Now this is all about the world around you. And at this stage, what we will discover, so again, if you are at level 1, you may resonate with this. It may feel as though life is happening to you. Now, if you're at level 1, you may have had moments where you felt as though you are playing the role of the victim, and that personal development, personal growth really wasn't for you. But don't worry, you are here. You've decided to tune in to a series of transformational talks. So you're not going to stay at level 1 for much longer if this is where you are. Fundamentally, at level 1, you will have forgotten your spiritual abilities, and gifts. And this is where the trap of conventional living keeps you on that, I would say, memory loss stage, where maybe you don't really trust in yourself. There is pressure to fit in to tradition, even if you're not actually sure where these traditions have come from or if they're right for you in your life. So what we need to do is start really, as I said before, feeling our way and really thinking about, why am I doing this? So it is a feeling and thinking process. You've got to know why you want to transform your life. You've got to decide on the type of life you actually want. And then you have to say no to everything that doesn't match with your aspirations. Introducing the first principle, first hermetic principle. And this is the principle of mentalism. So this is a really interesting principle. And let me just say, actually, as I'm talking to you about the principles, they're not, I haven't put them in the order that they appear in their list, but this actually does happen to be the first principle. And it's about really having that acceptance and comprehension that God is consciousness or thought, and that the universe is a manifestation of the mind of God. So I like to use expressions like I'm getting plugged in. I like to refer to the higher consciousness. So when I'm talking like this, I know within myself, I'm talking about all that is, source energy, infinite intelligence. I actually have so many different names, and you may find that you have different names as well. But this principle really helps us to harness the power of your mind. And when you start to do this, you will begin to create the life that you want. And spiritual practices such as meditation will help to train your mind. So if you are new to meditation, what I would recommend is really start small. But as you build up, you will find that you are feeling that connection. You are feeling that you're getting plugged in. Let's move on to talk about creating your vision. Now, this image, this photograph that I've chosen has actually been deliberately, when we were on holiday, so it's taken in Portugal, and I wanted to have an image of the sea behind me, the lovely blue sky, the lovely sand, because what I am moving towards is a vision of my future self, where I am living in a hot country. I have got access to the sea. So it's really interesting how we can use pictures to do this. Now, the subconscious mind thinks in pictures. And if you don't know the difference between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, then I would recommend that you tune into the workshop that we've got, or the talk we've got here from Lorraine, who's a theta healer. She's left us so much good wisdom and knowledge. And then her bonus workshop goes deeper, and she really explains the subconscious mind in that session. So as I said, the subconscious mind thinks in pictures, and it's actually 95%. Some say 90%, so 90 to 95% of who you really are. And that is the connection back to the higher consciousness. Whereas your conscious mind is your thinking mind. It's your objective mind. Now, think about your vision and really attach yourself emotionally to your vision. I have a vision of working with over 1,000 women. I don't know how it's going to happen, What I've done is I've made a commitment to my vision and I've set myself in motion. So actually pulling together, co-creating the I always say evaluate, elevate your being series of talks is one way of me actually moving towards my vision. And it is my hope, obviously, it's my intention, should I say, with more certainty, that this message will get out to women far and wide. And I know that, you listening to this, I'm sure that you will be happy to make a recommendation to someone you know in your life. Now, I kind of touched into faith then, which is the next part, because you've got to have faith in the unseen reality. I am certain that the work that I am doing and that I will go on to do in my life will reach over 1,000 women. That is my desire. Now, the last talk that I gave at the Health and Wellbeing Cafe, I actually said, we're thinking too small. So even though I say 1,000 women, I actually have to have faith in myself that I have the ability to reach 10,000 women, to reach 100,000 women. Okay, but I'm still growing. So thank you so much for being here. But I love what Napoleon Hill said about faith, because he did say it is an emotion and it's a powerful emotion. And this emotion connects with the vibration of thought and it instantly reaches the subconscious mind. What I didn't say when I spoke about the subconscious mind before is that we have to program, we have to give the subconscious mind orders. So even though it thinks in pictures, it responds to orders. It doesn't know the difference between we're imagining something or if it's actually something we're living in. So really think about your emotion when you are thinking about your faith. So it's faith in yourself, it's faith in the higher consciousness, it's faith in the world around you, but you have to feel it. And that's what activates the vibration. And these repetitive orders will actually give that command to the subconscious mind. So the other principle I'm bringing in here is the principle of vibration, which is actually the third principle in the list of Hermetic principles. And the principle of vibration talks about the fact that nothing rests, everything moves, and everything vibrates. So if you've already had an opportunity to tune in to the interactive talk that Helen did, which was around sound healing, then you would have heard that the talk was actually about working with me to develop my I am affirmations. So I'm going to repeat one of my affirmations here now. And it's the affirmation that I gave, which is I am facilitating the growth of others. The principle of vibration is so powerful. What did Tesla say? So I love this. If we're accepting, if we've got our self-awareness and we're accepting that we want to change, we're accepting that we want to bring transformation into our life, we have to go with the flow. Okay? We have to go with the flow. What comes to mind is Abraham Hicks, and the expression is actually going downstream. This is where you're in vibrational alignment and you're actually letting go of resistance. It's fantastic. It's something that you need to work on, and even myself, I'm still working on it. Meditation helps, but there's other things that can help you to start to go downstream, and I'm going to touch on them now. Before I do, I want to tell you about how I got started. So let's have some water. which is obviously really important that we drink enough water and stay hydrated. How did I get started? Well, I started very gently going downstream with mirror work. When was the last time you really looked into the mirror and looked at yourself and spoke to yourself gently with love? Going back to the I am affirmations, if you've listened to the talk with Helen, you could actually use those I am affirmations and adapt them into your life. I can't remember what I was saying to myself. It was 11 years ago when I actually started my journey. I can't remember what I was saying. But you have an opportunity to either, I'm sure we've shared affirmations in different talks. Helen's session, as I said, is one in particular where there's affirmations in there. I've got a bonus actual worksheet, which is great for bringing out some affirmations for you, which is, I've called it the I am alphabet. So you could do mirror work with that. Or you could just simply look on YouTube or think about your own affirmations. But mirror work is fantastic. Now, what I also did, because again, this is 11 years ago, just to put it in perspective where I was in my life, I was a single mom. My older offspring, so my older offspring are in their 20s, late 20s for my daughter. But at that point, they were in their teenage years. I was working through life. I'd already made transformation in the sense of I'd taken got myself into college, got myself into university, really thought about what I wanted. So that's going back to decide what type of life you want, but I knew I wanted more. So I heard about gratitude and I tried to get into the habit of doing it and it just wasn't flowing. So I wasn't in my flow with working on my gratitude. So I decided, I was actually speaking very gently. It came about very, very nicely, actually. But now I know that that was the law of attraction. There was a woman that I met and we were basically at the same point in our journey of self-discovery. And we decided to become accountability buddies. So what we did is we would write down in a journal just 3 aspects of gratitude. I think we did it because we used to speak in the morning. So we would write the gratitude in the evening, then we'd have a call at a set time every morning and we would share the gratitude. Very quick call. And it was lovely because what was it doing? It was reinforcing the habit that I was weak in, okay? It was reinforcing. I'm just looking here at a quote that came through to me before, which was, without commitment, you'll never start, but without consistency, you'll never finish. So I really, really appreciated that support right at the beginning of my journey. And what else did I do? Well, I've mentioned it already. I started journaling. So the journaling was really focused just on the gratitude. It was no way as in depth as it is now, and I'll explain that further. And obviously we've heard from Angie's talk about how journaling can have a big difference in your life. So for me, I didn't know it at the time, but essentially what was happening is the journaling was helping me to start to program my subconscious mind. Remember, that is 95% of who you are. That is where, that is what's actually reacting to the orders. It wants the orders, okay? So like I said, I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, but that's what was happening. Now that I've been working through my practice, working with Lorraine, what we're doing with the theta healing sessions is we're actually going to the subconscious mind and removing the old programs. So you have to appreciate that you are you're like a superpower. You've got a super mind, okay? But you can have old programs still running alongside the new programs that you are actually putting in to your subconscious mind through things like journaling. So just touching briefly on the old programs, for me, it was definitely limiting beliefs. I have worked with Lorraine on really uncovering some other limiting beliefs, because things can really get buried. But I'm just talking about 11 years ago. I still had to let go of things that, you know, were part of my life then. I mean, just looking back at my notes, I wanted to set up in business. I didn't have an aspiration for this style of coaching, but I wanted to set up in business. And I really needed to start digging deep and letting go of limiting beliefs that was actually stopping me from making a start. So that takes me on to procrastination. You know, sometimes you can have these ideas and you can feel really inspired to take action, but for some reason you get held back, and that is the subconscious mind. Staying in your comfort zone. So even if you start to take action, you're probably not pushing yourself enough. As I said before, whatever you're thinking, you need to actually think bigger. You need to 10x your thoughts. Staying in our comfort zone actually means that we're playing too small, we're not shining, we're not sharing our gifts with others, and we're not making a massive impact on the world. But this really does happen in a journal. Okay, Jim Rohn talks about the fact that you should spend money on your journals because you should want to have the desire to put something in it. Okay, I've actually saved all of my journals from 11 years ago. I've got a box in the cupboard in the living room, and they're all saved in there. And as I said, the type of journaling format that I do now is very different to what I was doing back then. So let's move on to step 2, and this is about activation. So we're now building up on those daily habits. Just before we go into the daily habits, let's have a look at what Vishen says around level 2 and how we're creating our own world. Well, this is where you are choosing your goals. So yes, you do set the goals. So like I said, the journaling that I do now is more goal focused, setting out those intentions, because you want to experience the power of intention. You're wanting to make a shift in the world. Okay, it's really important. And actually, one thing that I didn't mention, just going back to level 1 in the levels of consciousness, Vishen said that 70% of the population are actually living in that state. So here at level 2, then yes, it does increase a little bit. There's about 90% of people are starting to operate at level 2. But when you get to level 2, you're open to new ideas. So you the fact that you're on this call, you're listening, you're tuning into this message, you're tuning into the other messages that have been shared, you're open to ideas, which was something that Denise touched on in her talk, and you're probably exploring different modalities. And that is, in essence, what we're doing here in this series. We're giving you a taste of the different things that you can bring into your life. And if you want to go deeper, then please do get in contact with the contributors. Let's have a look at some daily activities. Now, if you find that you're not actually doing these daily, please don't beat yourself up, okay? As I said, for myself, I've been doing this type of work, my personal growth, for the last 11 years. My life has changed in the last 11 years. As I said, I had the older offspring who were teenagers. So of course I could get up, I can remember meditating in front of the river back in those days to really sort of be at one with nature. Now I've got Zenta, who's just a toddler as we're recording this, or as I'm recording this now. So I don't get an opportunity to do everything daily, but I do try and make sure I'm doing at least 1 or 2 aspects of what I call my daily activities. So before you can make a start, you do need to decide what you want. Now, I've said this already, but I'm going to say it again. You've got to decide on the type of life you actually want to live, and then say no to everything that doesn't fit into this. This is because the power of repetition is so important. Success is actually 5% strategy. So that's the decision, that's the plan. But it's 95% mindset, which is where, you know, we're talking about how can you be that spiritual alchemist, which is really looking at your thoughts, looking at your emotions, and tying that in with your actions. So you do need to focus on your goals. You do need to be practical, okay? As much as I've enjoyed going through my journey of going deeper into meditation, doing other aspects which have really taken me to new levels of consciousness, learning about chakras, looking at my food and all different types of things, I need to be practical. So goals, we can think about it like that. You can think about intentions, whatever word you feel comfortable with. But going back to the journaling, it's more powerful when you write your goals down. So don't just think about things and really think, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Make a commitment, write things down. Okay, so remember what I said before, without a commitment, you'll never start. You'll never start. When you write things down in your journal, and this is an area that you're going back to on a daily basis, then it really does help to focus the mind. Okay, so I've jumped a little bit to document your journey, but before I go on, I just want to go back to focusing on those intentions, because this is where we're breaking down your vision. So I only gave you a little taste of my vision. I've got a vision to support over 1,000 women. Okay, I'm going to match that with my affirmation. I'm facilitating the growth of others so that the law of vibration kicks in. But how do I achieve that? Okay, well, you need to break down your big, audacious, hairy goal. You need to think about the steps that you're living on a daily basis to help your vision come to life. When I had the download to actually put the Elevate Your Being series together, obviously I was like, oh, wow, that's like massive. But I had to go into action and I had to think, okay, so that's the big vision, to ask the contributors if they'd give another talk, if they'd actually share some more wisdom. But there's lots of things that have happened behind the scenes. So, you know, you're listening and viewing the final version of the activity, but it had to be broken down. I have put here that you can actually use a manifestation box. Okay, so a manifestation box is a really good way as when ideas pop into your head. You can put them into a box. There is something that you would say, which, to be fair, I forgot to write down, but there's like some wording that you can say. I'll drop it into the notes underneath this section, which really kind of says, okay, this is what I'm looking to do. This is part of my vision. I'm putting it in the box and it is done. Okay, because now you're actually sending it out to the universe. You're working with the law of attraction. You're working with the other universal laws, and you are letting go of the resistance. You can also do an index card box to break down your vision and your goals. So this is where you would take an index card like this. So I got these from, there's nothing on this one, but I got those from Tesco's. And I do have these cards scattered around with some of the big goals that I'm working on. So let's talk about documenting the journey. So this is fantastic because you are going to grow. This is why they call it personal growth. I'm going to give you a quote here from Lao. Lao Tzu, which is the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We all have to make a start, okay? The vision that I have for working with over 1,000 women a month is still in motion, but I've taken action and I'm so proud of myself. And I hope that you are proud of yourself if you're just starting out, for being here. If you're someone who's more developed in your journey, well, congratulations for checking out other levels of knowledge and just being what I would say living from the ego and saying, I know it all, I know everything. Document your journey because you will change and grow. Going back to journaling, journaling is a fantastic way, particularly if you're doing the gratitude, you will actually be giving thanks along your way. So some things will be so like magnificent. You'll be like, oh, I'm so happy and grateful. And that is how you should really be writing in that present tense when you're doing your gratitude and also when you're writing out your goals. But to be fair, I'll have to cover that in another session. But yeah, really document the journey in your journal. Use photographs. I'm actually a little bit upset that I haven't been able to share some of the photographs from 11 years ago, so you can actually maybe get a glimpse of what I look like. Obviously, you don't know how I was thinking back then because I didn't do videos and do any recordings back then, but I wanted to do recordings. I just didn't have the confidence to do it. I didn't even have the equipment in the sense of I never had a laptop. Yeah. Things like Zoom wasn't available back then. So I didn't know, well, if I was going to do that type of thing, how would it happen? You've got to document your journey because it helps you to celebrate your success. So depending on when you are listening to this, if you are part of the pre-launch ticket holders, I don't know what you'd call yourself, or pre-launch members, let's call you, then obviously you will be invited, you are already invited to the VIP celebration event, which is happening on Thursday, the 25th of November, 2021. And that is a way that I will be celebrating my success of bringing this all together, giving a public thank you to the contributors, giving a public thank you to you for being here, for being part of my journey. Okay, because I want to be able to look back on this part, this chapter, and say, oh, wow, gosh, that's where I started. Okay, you need to have these memories. It's so, so important. And you'll appreciate why as I talk further. Okay, so let's really go back to deciding what you want. This is so important. You've got to know what you want. This is where we are making that decision to get into activity. The emotion is going to have an impact on how much work you put into going for your goals. You probably can't see this really clearly, but it's set to a vision board. So vision boards are a great way of deciding what you want. I started with a vision board. I also started with a vision book. The vision book, so if you're not familiar with vision boards, this is where you're cutting out pictures of different aspects of your life and you're putting them on a board, okay? And you're bringing this to life because what happens is when you look at these images, you are sending that command to the subconscious mind. So as I was going to say, I started with the vision book and I've still got the vision book. And I wasn't in a relationship. So as I said, I was a single mom with my older offspring. I wasn't in a steady relationship. And being in a relationship and having that home life and having that family life was something I really wanted. So I did put an emphasis of relationships in my vision book. I even had an image of a little one in my vision book. And there's other aspects. You know, I actually set out the vision book in different chapters. So I'm talking to you about the relationship chapter. There's a chapter on health and vitality. There was a chapter on my career. There was, you know, it went on. So think about what you want in your life. And I'm delighted to say that Mark and I have been together for 10 years. So work out the maths. It only took about a year for that manifestation to come through. But I really believed that it would happen. Okay. And, you know, when we talk about how long these manifestations actually take, well, really, Zenta came into our life after we'd been together for 8 years. So not everything that you want is going to come through straight away, but you have to have that faith and that belief that it is done. All right. Which moves me on to self-talk. Now, this is about auto-suggestion. Now, your thoughts can be negative or positive. Obviously, we're wanting you to have positive thoughts, but let's be honest, we do have negative thoughts. The difference is when you're living in spiritual alchemy, you can be aware of your thoughts. And if the thoughts are going upstream, so remember, we want to be downstream because we're in flow. We're actually working with universal laws like the law of vibration and the law of attraction. But if your thoughts are negative, you can actually cut them. You know, you can be aware, have that awareness, cut it, find a better feeling thought and move through. Now, if you're actually wanting to bring something specific into your life, then Napoleon Hill speaks about the fact that you can actually write your statement down again on the index card, have the statement of your desire on a card and read it out loud twice a day. This goes back to the mirror work. If you get into the habit of using the index card and actually looking in the mirror, you will actually really tune in to what your desires are, because we're talking about putting those commands into the subconscious mind, but also evoking the emotions as well. And then having the faith that it is done. We have to let go and just trust that what we've asked for will be given. So this is about really tuning in. And I've spoken about focusing on your goals already. So I think my slides are a little bit muddled up here. I'm not going to repeat myself. Oh, what happened is I didn't press the button. Okay. All right then. So let's talk about the principle of correspondence. And this is the second principle. So it's the second hermetic principle. And it is talking about as above, so below. And as below, so above. You've got to have that comprehension of the connection. So your connection to all that is, your connection to infinite intelligence. All right, so we're at step 3. And this is where we're talking about ascending and attracting abundance. It's absolutely a fantastic stage because here, oh, sorry, before I go into the level, just to let you know what I'm going to cover in this section, we're going to talk about the fact that you are prosperity. We're going to talk about the specialist knowledge that is useful for you to accumulate. And we're going to talk about gratitude. So yes, level 3, it's all about the world inside you. And this, like I was just about to say, it is a fantastic stage because this is where you are recoding yourself. This is where your thoughts are becoming reality. This is where you are shaping and calibrating the world inside you. So you are really starting to work with your emotions, you're tuning in with your alignment, you're tuning in with your intuition, and you just have that confidence, like it is done. Like you're just gonna laugh it off if it hasn't even manifested yet, because you're just like, well, it is actually here. It's already here. It is done. Okay. You've got to have that light essence. Altered states of consciousness is really important at level 3. And this is where you are going to use tools such as meditation to help to activate your creativity. You are going to be open to receiving. Now, receiving will come through in different ways. It will come through in aspects of signs and symbols. It will come through in terms of your intuition. Like for me, I just get the download in a sense of it's the gloriful ideas that come, and I know that they're not mine. Like I'll start something, but it's like I'm looking for the answer and that tuning in. So in terms of altered states of consciousness, yes, I do the meditation, which is more or less a daily practice now. I just have to have headphones. So if you're a mum listening to this, and if you're like me, I know Xander should not be still in the bed, but he is. What I do is I just put headphones on in the morning. So I set my alarm to wake up an hour before he's going to wake up. I put my headphones on and I turn the internet off at night. So I come downstairs, put the internet on, and that's kind of like I'm coming into what you'd say my awareness. And then I put the meditation on, and it's just fantastic. I do the theta healing with Lorraine, which is great. And I do heart-centered coaching with Denise, which is fantastic as well. So yes, I am having more opportunities to go into altered states of consciousness. I'm receiving the downloads. I'm actually at a point now where I work with my angelic realm. The angels love to assist us, okay? So if you're not familiar with this, you can talk to me about tuning into the angels. I actually do offer card readings as well. I don't charge for the card readings because I'm still building up my my practice with giving readings to others. But you know, working with the angels is fantastic because they want to assist you. So for myself, I know that I've tuned in with the angelic realm at home, but also when I'm outside in nature. So being outside in nature can also alter your state of consciousness, particularly if you are aware of the power of the nature angels, okay? So there's been many examples now, and I can see it in the work that I then go on to create, where I've literally called on the angelic realm. I've asked for assistance, particularly with Archangel Uriel, who's very good at helping you with ideas and shaping the knowledge inside you, bringing it out, bringing it through. But it's actually fantastic because it's like, whoa, and you have that confidence and you're like, whoa, let's go. You just have that excitement to take action to get this in motion. So let's talk about You Are Prosperity. How exciting, what a wonderful feeling. So when I talk about You Are Prosperity, and in fact, I forgot to say this at the beginning of this step. This step is all about abundance, but I don't just mean abundance in the financial terms. I mean abundance if you think back about what you really want. Do you want more? Let's have a look. Yeah, let's talk about money. So do you want more money in your life? Then yes, I'm talking about financial abundance. But do you want improved health, better physical well-being? So you've got more vitality. You know, your health is your wealth. So if you've got good health, then you are already living in prosperity? Do you want prosperity in your relationships, more love in your life? So that might be love that you are actually pouring into your own life. So remember what Monica said to us, but also love that you are receiving and giving to others. All of these things make us more prosperous and abundant. Do you want more freedom in your life? Is this showing up in terms of the freedom you have to do the things that you want because you've got the time to do this? Are you having the adventures that you want to have? It's all so important. So when I talk about abundance and prosperity, it's not just financial abundance. This is having an abundant life. Now, you are prosperity because you have the power within you. As I said, if you're living at level 1, it may be because you have forgotten about your spiritual abilities. Now, when you start to work through and trust your intuition and actually really work with your gifts, then you will become more prosperous. You can just feel it. When you know these things, you know that you are tuned in and tapped into the higher consciousness. And as Reverend Ike says, God, higher consciousness, is experiencing life through you. So, God wants to have a prosperous life, and this is how it happens through the life that we are living. So you really have to believe in your own prosperity and power. The principle of polarity is the Hermetic principle that we're working with here. And this principle is all about the fact that opposite things are actually one. So physical matter and spiritual energy is the same thing. Okay, it's just that spiritual energy means that you're vibrating at a much higher level. So you can see that within others. Okay, you can see who's got that high vibration, that high energy. The principle of polarity also gives us the explanation of how love and hate are actually the same thing. You're just experiencing this from a different aspect. Now, when you start to get to grips with the principle of polarity, you will have the foundations of your alchemy, because this is when you have the ability to transmute your experiences at will. So you can change things at your will. Now, let's talk about the idea of specialist knowledge. Now, this is fantastic. I'm going to refer back to Napoleon Hill because he's really good. The title of his book is Think and Grow Rich. I have a copy here. Fantastic book. I think I've read it 3 times. I'll be due to read it again. Maybe I'll set my intention to read it again next year. But Napoleon Hill talks about the fact that knowledge will not attract money. So let's talk about financial abundance here. You need to organize the knowledge, and it has to be intelligently directed through practical plans of action. So there's no point in having knowledge and not doing anything with it. So you are picking up a lot of knowledge, a lot of hints and tips throughout not only this talk that you're hearing, but all of the talks. You actually have to organize the information and put it into a practical plan of action. Now, for some of you, you may actually be wanting to move into this area of work, whether it be coaching, whether it be spiritual coaching, or maybe any of the other modalities that you've heard about through the other contributors. Maybe we're inspiring you to actually think about, well, what could I do with my life? If that is the case, specialized knowledge is going to be something you'll have to build up. Napoleon also said that if you have stopped studying because you've left school, then you are going to be like hopelessly doomed to mediocrity. So you don't want to live a mediocre life. You want to live an abundant life. And being a spiritual alchemist will help you to do this. Are you an innovator? Do you have ideas that you can take from one industry and put them into another? Can you repackage your existing knowledge? Can you do this in a unique way? Do you have, or have you identified a problem and then identified a solution? Who's this going to be useful to? You can get started as soon as possible. All you need to do is start talking to people. Reach out to 3 to 5 people that are in a different area of work or industry to what you work in, and ask them about how they have used innovative ideas in their product, their service, or their life. And that will help you to actually really start to hone in on your own specialist knowledge and bring abundance into your life. The principle that we're working with here, which is actually principle number 6, is everything is connected through the principle of cause and effect. The cause of one thing has the effect on something else. Now, some things that you do in life, you cannot see the effect straight away. It may take a period of time. And the thing that comes to mind is smoking. You could have a cigarette, but actually you cannot see the damage and the effect of having that cigarette. You could drink a glass of water and not realize the benefits of drinking 1 glass of water until you are in the habit of drinking 2 and 3 liters a day. So everything, every cause will have an effect. So let's start to give gratitude. I want to give you so much thanks and love and show my appreciation for having the confidence to tune in to this series of talks and also to tune into the message I'm sharing with you here. Gratitude is such a powerful element that we can bring into our life. When you take time to think about the positive aspects of your life, it will strengthen positive emotions in your life. If you have positive emotions in your life, you are more inclined to take action and work towards the things that you want. Talking about journaling, when you're writing your gratitude, write it in the first I can't think now, the first person of I am so happy and grateful. So you bring it into the now. So, you know, really have that attachment to the present. Talking about gratitude, research shows that gratitude is the most powerful method to increase your happiness. And if you are already in the group that I've got called the My Happiness Club, you will know that I put a lot of attention onto giving gratitude. Thinking about your intentions and your goals, gratitude will help you to increase your goal achievement. Gratitude will help you with your decision making and your productivity. As I said, if you feel good about the things you're receiving in your life, the accomplishments that you are seeing manifesting in your life, the people you are meeting, the people who may help you, then you are going to be more motivated to continue to stay on your path and work towards your goals. Now, if you're feeling insecure, so think about level 1. In terms of the states of consciousness where you may have been a victim or you're still playing the victim role, then actually you're insecure and you're going to have difficulty to focus because your mental resources are actually on other aspects like worrying or just feeling anxious about things that may actually not be happening. So focus your attention on what is happening and what is positive in your life. Now, level 4 is I'm not there yet. I'm not level 4. But you know what? I can't wait to be there, because level 4 is where you are aware that about the world you can change, okay? You know that you are becoming extraordinary. So this is where you are feeling fulfilled, because you are changing the world. You're not really setting goals anymore. You're being guided in your life. You know the next best steps to take. You know that you are connected to the higher energy, the higher consciousness. You're connected to what we would say, we're all consciousness. So you know that you're connected to others around you. So you've got that unity of consciousness, and you actually just know that you can make a difference. You've already worked through the other levels, and you are now working from that position of being. Yes, and remember, this series of talks is called Elevate Your Being. And, if you start here with us, and hopefully you'll come back to more things that I will end up doing. And if you feel that you are at a level 4 and you know that you're making an impact on the world, please come and share those stories with me. I would be so happy and grateful to hear how life works out for you. So yes, intuition is so important. When you, not just level 4, what I said to you right at the beginning is, if you've forgotten your spiritual abilities, then intuition is something you're going to need to tap into. This is where you are receiving the downloads, okay? So I've made a note of thinking about the fact that we say our prayers, but we don't necessarily listen, and that's where meditation comes in. This is what your intuition is, receiving the messages that God, the universe, has for you. That helps your intuition to grow. You're taking inspired action because you know that you are working in alignment with the higher consciousness, with the universal laws. You know that the path is cleared. It is done. It is done. It is done. So you make plans, you step in, you let go of resistance, you don't get hung up on when things aren't really working out for you. You can tap back into your intuition, tap back into the energy, seek the guidance, and continue to go through. You are basically changing the world. It's a fantastic place. And I really do believe that, even though I'm not at level 4, many of you on this call may not be at level 4, but we do change the world in our own way. Okay, we're all changing the world. We're all change makers. And that's really important for you to remember, that you are a change maker making a difference. This is where, before I close, I'm going to tell you about the principle of gender, which is the 7th principle in the Hermetic principles. And when you are working at a state of making change in the world, you will start to appreciate that all things have a masculine and a feminine quality. This is because masculine and feminine energy exists in the physical world, it exists in the mental world, and also the spiritual plane. We do need the unity of the masculine and physical energy to create the world that we're living in. So it's really important. Okay, so before I close, I would love to have an opportunity, with your permission, to invite you to work with me on a deeper level. I hope that this talk has really sparked some things maybe that are new to you, or like I said, if you're already on your journey, it's helping you to reflect on different aspects of your spiritual alchemy from a different perspective. I'd love an opportunity to work with you on a deeper level. As you know, I've been working on, well, if you're here in the pre-launch phase, you know I've been working on Elevate Your Being, but it's time for me to continue to step out of my comfort zone and to move into the next phase of my personal growth. And I'd love to have an opportunity to do this with your help. I'm in the process of working on my new 6-week interactive program. This is going to be a mix of group coaching, one-to-one support, and also pre-recorded content as what you're hearing within this series. You will see real results manifest into your life. So if you think about what I'm saying, and if you feel that, you know, you're resonating with my message as well, by the time you've listened to the talks here in Elevate Your Being, and then you come on to my 6-week program, you think about the transformation. So again, think about where you are now and think about the transformation that will be activated in your life. So the program is called Shine and Step into Your Greatness. And I only have 9 places for the beta test, and it is by application. So there will be a link to the application form underneath this talk. Obviously, if you're listening to this at a later stage and the we've already, you know, co-created the program, then please make an inquiry with me about the program. But you know, I'm recording this just as Elevate Your Being is being launched. So it's November 2021. And I'm asking for you, I'm inviting you to be one of the 9 who will take a place. So it is market research, as I said, and the idea is that the program will reconnect you with your true frequency levels so you can get results to live the life that you really desire to live. What we're going to cover is looking at the mind. So we'll go deeper on things that I've said here in terms of alchemy, the subconscious mind, and so forth. We'll look at the body, which is really important. Now that will be an extension of my second talk, which is supercharging the super you, but we'll go deeper on the topics that I'll bring up there. We'll look at the soul alignment. We'll also look at faith. So I've spoken about faith here, but we'll actually start working through tools which will activate your faith and actually speed up the manifestation. We'll cover energy and really go deeper on the energy healing and helping you to tap into your energy. We'll also look at finance and prosperity because that's really, really important, particularly when we're wanting to transform our life. And there will be a bonus module if you are a woman who's wanting to go into business, but not sure where to get started. I will be putting on a bonus module there. Now, the application form is going to ask you about the things that you are struggling with right now and how the program can help you. So even though I've outlined the program and I know the type of elements, the things I want to talk about in the program, because it is my first coaching program, those of you that will be in the beta group, I'm really going to ensure that what I deliver is actually a match to the type of support that you're looking for. So please have a word with me about the beta program if this sounds good. Good to you. We will be starting in January, so it's towards the end of January. So you do have time if you're listening to this at the end of 2021. We will be starting in January 2022. So please let me know if that's for you. All right, so as we finish off, we are going to look at the final hermetic principle, which is the principle of rhythm, okay? And this is really thinking about going into flow. everything flows in and out. This principle is related to the principle of polarity, which, you know, if you remember what I said there, when you are living from the principle of polarity, you are actually transmuting your experiences at will. The tides move in and out, and we inhale and exhale, okay? So everything is in motion. So what I want to say is start working with your inner spiritual alchemy and everything will start to change for you. Your emotions will cause you to take action. And this activity is actually activating your frequency. So the more you become aware of your emotional state and you start to let go of resistance, the more the transformation will come to you. I hope that this talk has been of interest and added value to your journey. I am looking forward to your feedback and thank you so much for being here. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.